Hello and welcome to the 53rd episode of the American Fitbaw Cast.
Woo!
We have one other voice on the line. Hello, Steve.
Hello, how's it going? It's back to ye oldie days of Skype.
It is back to ye old days of Skype, yeah.
Which has confused me greatly today, like trying to remember what the setup was, because it's probably been about a year since we've done this.
Yeah, it's been a while.
So ever since we found the super secret bunker that's definitely not work to record in.
Yeah, definitely. And that super secret bunker that I won't be present at for the next 6 months. So we're on Skype.
Last week's intro, I knew fine if I teed up Gav, he'd say, "You're having a baby." Not Catherine,
Yep.
But it was amazing.
Yeah. And yes, so Gav isn't with us at the moment because we've gone back to the old technology. His has failed in. Hopefully he'll join us later on.
And this is with his new computer. A year ago he had his old computer, which was like, remember he used to have to go down to the basement where it was really cold just to get it working. So he has since got rid of that one. He has a new computer, and just law of perfect timing, everything was set up, ready to go. I had to reinstall Skype because it had been so long since I'd used it. There was a new version needed on my computer. We then said, right, ready to go, Gav. Gav opens his laptop, update. So that's him knackered. So we'll get him on the line at some point. He will be in the second half of the show.
So while we're waiting for Gav to join us, we are going to go through a couple of games from last week. I am going to talk about my team because I've not done it for a little while. But Steve, I'm going to let you go first. And you're going to talk about the London game.
Cool. Yeah. So I thought... So, first of all, a rare feat for me, I managed to watch 2 games back-to-back on a Sunday, which I very rarely do, but that's because we're lucky enough that it was a half 2 hour time game, therefore I could get that game and the normal 6 o'clock game in as well. So, London game, it went, to be brutally honest, it kind of went the way I expected it to. I was really hoping Tampa Bay would fight a bit more than they did, but they had quite a few things that worked against them. So I've got a couple of wee discussion points. First of all, Jameis Winston, 5 interceptions, having gone, wait for this, 10 touchdowns and 2 interceptions in his last 3 games, which is all right. And after me champing at the bit, was it in the chat I said a couple of weeks ago about, woohoo, he's back to a middling quarterback, take that 28th rank and shove it down your neck. Because he had been in a bit of a rebound. He then has an absolute disaster, throws 5 picks. And, I mean, okay, maybe 1 or 2 of them weren't him. A lot of it was him, though. Do you know what I mean? The Luke Kuechly one, he just read his eyes and he picked that one off. It was just...
Yeah, I mean, that one, that's the one that stood out to me as being just
bad.
Really poor.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just so... Yeah, it was such an easy interception for Kuechly to make.
Oh, he is laughing on that one. I mean, that boy, remember from All or Nothing. Did you watch the Carolina Panthers All or Nothing?
Yeah.
Aye, about how much film study he puts in, and about, I mean, I don't think he leaves he just goes home to sleep and comes back, you know what I mean? That guy's got no life outside the office, his poor family. I mean, he knows fine when he hits like 33, 4, 5, whenever it is he gives up, he's got lots of time then. He is now taking his 12, 15 years, whatever he can get, he is putting absolutely every minute into it at the moment.
Yeah, definitely.
So yes, I mean I'm gonna shout it out. I think this is the game that has cost Winston his chances of getting re-upped. I think he's done. I think he'll be out in Tampa at the end of the season. Before this game, I thought there was hope, albeit they hadn't re-signed him long term. BA looked like they turned him around, settled him down, wasn't too wild, decent yardage. I mean, his targets, he's got. I mean, how many other teams would take Evans and Godwin as a 1-2? You know what I mean? Mind how we had this, loads of teams. I mean, they are outstanding as a pair. So he's got no reason not to be good. And
definitely.
That is, a game like that.
It's one of the best 1-2 combinations of wide receivers in the league.
Yeah.
But there aren't very many stronger players than that.
Yeah, so that was a bit of a shame. One positive for the Bucs though, they managed to keep CMC down about 60 odd yards total. He only got 30 or 39 on the ground and a couple through the air, but really not a lot of yardage. Yes, okay, he got a couple of touchdowns because the boy, you can't stop him. He is absolutely on a tear. No questions asked. Well, actually, we'll speak about running backs later on when Gav joins, because I know that he would want to chat a bit about that.
Yeah, but this Bucs defense has been exceptionally good against the run this year. They did keep CMC to about 60 odd yards the first time they met as well.
Yes.
So they've stopped him twice, and no one else has done it.
No, exactly. Having Sue in the middle really seems to have helped shore that up. Interestingly, on the flip side, and that's kind of the next point that was going on, Gerald McCoy, whom he replaced, whips up 2.5 sacks in a revenge game. That was quite nice for him. Carolina got 7 in total. They really did rattle Winston and that O-line all game. They also got, obviously, the 5 interceptions we talked about, a couple of forced fumbles as well. It was a pretty dominating performance. But on the Carolina side, I've actually got a second discussion point, which I think is more a bigger issue for them. Does Carolina have a Cam Newton problem?
Yes.
Well, that's the obvious answer. But it's nice to ask the question anyway. I mean,
last 13 games for the Carolina Panthers, Cam Newton has started 9. Kyle Allen has started 4. They are 4-9.
With Allen winning.
Kyle Allen is 4-0. Cam Newton is 0-9.
Yeah. And it's the whole playing the hot hand thing. I mean, there doesn't seem to be any immediate timeline on when he's coming back. We don't know. But the Carolina can sit there quite happy and let it go as long as it needs to. When Newton comes back, they've got the problem. Because really, you should hand the keys back. But the longer this goes...
I don't think you can.
Yeah, Allen hasn't had an interception. The bigger thing, Allen's not had an interception. He's on some ridiculous streak. I think, has he now got the record of games won without an interception to start your career or something daft like that?
That wouldn't surprise me.
So lots of discussion points from this game. Kind of went out the way it was kind of meant to go, but yeah, so, you know, we were Bucs heavy a couple of episodes ago. I didn't want to go too Bucs heavy this time round.
Did it really go the way it was meant to go? Just based on recent form?
I suppose, yeah.
To me, it was a bit of a surprise, I thought.
Well, even if you just flip back to the fact that Allen's unbeaten since he's come in, you know, and obviously when Cam was there, it didn't. So they lost the first 2 games of the season when Cam was there, but the 4 since, Allen's won, and they're sitting 4-2. So they've kind of flipped around, and they're on a roll at the minute. I'm trying to remember what the Bucs did they play in Saints last weekend and lost narrowly. Was that last week or was that 2 weeks ago?
Yeah. They've just played the Saints and the Rams, and I can't remember which order it was in. But they obviously
but they played 2 tough teams, and actually they held their own okay.
Well, they put up 55 points or something on the Rams and lost narrowly to the Saints.
Yes, yeah, that's what the last couple of weeks has been, I think. So I don't know. I mean, I figured Carolina were going to win. As much as I wanted the Bucs to, you know, because they're the home team. I kind of, more often than not, I always go for who the home team is in the London games. I think it's fair on them and as an organisation for giving up the game, and it's fair for the fans that, inverted commas, mostly probably will be supporting the home team. I say that as a very generalisation. If it's next year when Green Bay come over, there is no doubt they are going to be the best supported team, no matter who they're up against.
They will.
When the Patriots come back over, they're going to be the best supported team out of the two. You know, the Bears Oakland game, it was pretty Bears heavy, the crowd. You know, some teams travel better than others, but some teams are better represented in the UK than others.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah.
Wider point, the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium seems to have gone down very well. Certainly from the players. They seem to love it.
Yes. Well, it's set up for them. I mean, the turf is bare. It's more what they're used to. There was always occasional grumbles if the field at Wembley had had been wet and was quite chewed up. They were having to change cleats out mid-game because they didn't have the right cleats on. And I think people were just worried about injuries on that field. They don't seem to have the same problem when it comes to Tottenham.
It's a purpose-built AstroTurf pitch at Tottenham, so they obviously don't have that worry.
For those that listened to last week's episode, we had Chin on location, and he actually had an interesting viewpoint from a fan's perspective that he wasn't overly sold. He was like, there's definitely a lot of good things in it, and whether it's just teething problems and to get things better, but he prefers Wembley as a venue, versus the Tottenham Stadium. But
so there's no tailgate at Tottenham.
No, there's no place. Yeah, there's no place to have it. So they tried to have some kind of inside the stadium tailgate, like round the internals of the seating. I don't quite know what was involved in that because I've not actually spoke to them about exactly how it was set up, but I know that's how they were going to plan on setting it up. So you kind of missed that because one of those things. You've been to Wembley game, haven't you?
No, it was Twickenham I went to.
Oh, Twickenham. Okay, well, do you know what? That's probably still the same. And did they have some kind of outdoor tailgatey type setup?
Yeah, tailgate was all outside, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So once you've got that and you've got an area you can kind of hang around in before the game, that kind of adds to your day out.
Yeah.
So I think not having that, certainly for the people that have been to other stadiums before, you probably notice that difference really quickly.
Yeah, 2 London games down and 2 more to go. Right, so we will move on to the game I'm going to talk through. So the Atlanta Falcons at the Arizona Cardinals. And this game was won by Arizona just 34 points to 33. And this was a game of, looking at it, very little defense. So you look at the quarterback's numbers. Kyler Murray, 37 attempts, 27 completions, 340 yards, 3 touchdowns, no interceptions, passer rating of 128.2. Matt Ryan, 36 attempts, 30 completions, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions, passer rating 144.9.
Oh, you must hate
You
that.
have to be absolutely gutted as a quarterback to put up those numbers and come out on the losing side.
Yeah. I bet you were loving the fact you were getting to say that this week.
Yeah, definitely. So for me, Cardinals' offense is starting to look very exciting. Now, I know it's against a poor defense, but in Atlanta at the moment, they aren't great. But you've got there's so many options in both the pass game and the run game. So the big thing that stuck out for me over the last couple of weeks is the emergence of Chase Edmonds as a proper dynamic threat in the run game. He looks just like a light David Johnson, which is brilliant to see. It gives you loads of options back there. Concerns for me, though, are the other side of the ball, the defense. And Steve's just putting some stats up to me, and I'm going to come back to them in a minute.
You've got it. Good. I was hoping you were going to mention it. Yeah. That's the wee hook for a minute from now, folks. Keep listening.
Well, I'll go just now. So there was one stat I saw earlier on, which is that the Cardinals have ran, what was the number? 376 plays.
Yep.
On offense.
There's 376 times when a team has run at least 400 offensive plays through the first 6 games of the season. I'll let you finish, Karen.
376 times where a team has run 400 offensive plays through the first 6 games. Mm-hmm. This is only the 3rd time where a team has got 4 turnovers or less.
Yep. That's mental.
Which is quite incredible ball security from Cardinals offense. There's only been 1 interception, I think, and the rest has been fumbles. So but what's more remarkable is that the Cardinals have the joint lowest in terms of offensive turnovers, and they're still negative on the turnover difference.
Oh.
The defense has only got 3 turnovers through 6 games.
Oh, that's such a shame when you think, my team's on the rebound. the offense seems to be working. Kingsbury seems to have got that in order, and your defense is just letting you down massively.
Yeah, totally.
That's a shame. See, this is where I'm lucky I don't have a team, because I don't know if I could go through this level of heartache.
Big positive, though, is that we are now 6 games into the season. So that means that Pat Peterson's suspension is over.
Oh, exciting times. And you've got the Giants on tap this week, have you not?
Yes, we do.
Oh, that's exciting.
So hopefully, Pat Pete coming back is the shot in the arm that the defence need.
Aye.
And they're able to start getting the turnovers and righting that turnover differential, because to only have had 7 turnovers in 6 games is wild as a total. But it to be, I've given away 4 and your defense to only come up with 3 is pretty disappointing. But overall, I'm quite high on the way the Cardinals are going at the moment. It's great. So that sums up the games for this week, and we're now joined by someone else on the line. Gav, you decided to join us.
I did, unfortunately, for everyone that's listening.
Nice introduction.
From Kevin, the group chat during the week.
Yes.
What was that?
I'm saying I expect the confirmation from Kevin, the group chat during the week.
Yeah.
It was something like, first 20 minutes were fine, but then Gav joined.
Right, so we are going to chat trades for a little bit now. So last night, as we record, by the time this comes out, it'll be a couple of nights ago, the Rams made some moves. So first, they got rid of Marcus Peters, and everyone went, what on earth are they doing?
Well, considering that they just put Talib in IR literally hours beforehand as well, or whatever it was. It was just like, right, you've just lost your top 2 starting cornerbacks. What's going on?
So they traded Peters to the Ravens, and in return they got Kenny Young, who's a second-year linebacker, and an undisclosed draft pick, which we believe to be a 4th rounder, which seems like good value for the Ravens, I would think.
Yeah, I think so. So they got, Jimmy Smith, is he injured at the minute or having some issues? Yeah, so he was kind of one of their main guys for the last few years. And there'd been, I think there'd been quite a few rumours in the offseason about, if they were going to keep him around, were they going to move him on? So you're almost replacing him with Peters, so it could be interesting to see how next offseason goes. A lot of chat about Peters being a total gamble player, though.
Oh yeah, he's a boomer bust, isn't he? He very much sells himself trying to get the interception, rather than maybe playing it a little bit safer and just batting the ball away or tipping it. Or
do you think it was more a case that he got really lucky in his first season in KC, or his first good season in KC, where he got those 8 interceptions and he was absolutely balling, and he's been a bit found out now because he's trying a few things and it's just not working?
Well, he's hyper aggressive, isn't he? So he's going to have that volatility. I guess like most players, you're going to have, the more games there are, the more your average is going to come down for most players. And unless you've got someone really good in your safety to help cover, those blown plays, then I guess he is that sort of high risk, high risk, high reward type player, which you maybe don't want to have in that position. It's a tough one.
It's still an alright move. I mean, I'm not hating on the move actually. I think I'm kind of with you. I think that Baltimore have totally won that. I think that's a great pickup for them, really. And the way they're trending, the fact they're playing pretty good anyway, it's just like an extra piece to help them.
Well, I was just going to say that John Harbaugh does play quite an aggressive defense, so maybe it'll suit Peters, whereas Wade Phillips is a little bit of the bend not break type. So maybe the Rams weren't getting the best out of him, whereas if Peters goes to a scheme that's going to let him be a bit more
jumpy.
Yeah, I think Peters is more of a zone player as well, opposed to man from what I read, and I think that he's going from Rams who played man to Ravens who play zone, So for both parties, that sort of helps as well, right?
Definitely, I think. And then it all became clear about an hour or so later what the Rams were doing, as it was announced that they had given up a 2020 first round pick, a 2021 first round pick, and a 2021 fourth round pick to acquire Jalen Ramsay from the Jags. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Just.
I'm still not sure what to make of this 24 hours on, to be honest. Particularly with the Rams playing a man-to-man defense, Jalen Ramsay is the best man-to-man cornerback in the NFL.
It gives him a whole half. He wants to be known as an absolute lockdown. I will take an entire half of field and I will own it. It will be mine. It's like the old days of Revis Island, for those of you that watched. Gav, you caught Daryl Revis?
Daryl Revis.
Did you catch him in his prime, or was he more just in the tail end of his career? When he
I seen him have one good season, then I seen him be really rubbish thereafter.
So that one good season and about the 4 or 5 seasons before, I mean, he was just, it was an entire half a field. You just left him on his own and he took care of it. It was ludicrously good. Ramsey wants to be that type of player, and at least he gets the opportunity to proper showcase that now. And he's a total guy, I think, that bets on himself, because he's going to get re-upped. He's going to get re-upped by a lot of money as well, which is what he wants. But I think he's got that. I think he'll come out and try and prove it as well at the same time.
Well, he's going to have to be re-upped for a load of money, because he now has the Rams over a barrel when it comes to negotiation.
Doesn't he just? Same with Tunsil at the Texans. It's just the two of them are going to massively reset their markets. It's just mental.
Yeah.
I was just going to say to the both of you, I think we sort of unanimously agreed that in our eyes, the Rams had overpaid. But what I wanted to ask the two of you, is this now the cost of having a young, a high ceiling player that's still young enough? I'm just thinking, Tunsil went for 2 first rounders as well, right? And if you had to put the two players, on par, Ramsey's way ahead of Tunsil, way ahead in terms of who you would want. And I just think maybe that's the market now for these type of players. If you're going to make aggressive moves for players that are, in the first 4 or 5 years of their deal, that's just what you're going to have to pay for the top end players in their position.
So my question here on the back of that then is, I suppose if you think the Rams are a team who are, in the next 2 or 3 years, they're going to be picking mid first round at the highest, potentially even later first round. So the players that you pick up there, how many of them are going to be a Jalen Ramsay, and how many of them are going to be a bust? I suppose when you're giving up that capital for Jalen Ramsay, you're getting him, and you know what you're going to get. You're going to get one of the best players in his position. Whereas when you're going to the draft board, it's more of a gamble.
Generally 50-50 in the first round is your kind of number.
Yeah, I was just going to say that's a really good point you raised there, Andrew, because the Rams are very much a win-now team. Like, we seen them even, 2 years ago, they traded a first rounder for Brandon Cooks. So I don't think they're a draft and build type team. I think they're a hyper-aggressive, let's just do everything we can now to get to the Super Bowl, rather than, develop players over 4 or 5 years and eventually get to the Super Bowl. They want to get there now rather than sort of wait. So I'm not opposed to giving up, 2 first rounders. If your strategy is more around about using experienced pros rather than developing players, because they maybe think they can hit on a 3rd or a 4th or a 5th round type player rather than a first rounder. So it just changes the way that they'll probably be scouting players, because rather than everyone else who will probably be focused on first round talent, Rams maybe now go, okay, so who's likely to drop into the second and who can we get value on there?
My thought on this then is there a little bit of a, you know how Gav, you were saying that the whole is the price now 2 first rounders? Does this possibly fall back to, in a really, really weird way, the Redskins' handling of Kirk Cousins on the double franchise tag and then lost him for nothing and he goes out and hits the market? Is this team's now going, right, I've got these inverted commas problem players who are going to do this to me for a couple of seasons. I could franchise tag them if I want, but they're going to give me a bit of a headache and they're going to disappear anyway. So flip them now while I can and get stupid value for it.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. And, everybody in this trade for me is a winner. Jalen Ramsay's a winner because he gets to go be the number one cornerback because he wants to be that, wants to prove he's that. I think the Rams are in a position where they can say to him, okay, we've given up the capital for you. We'll pay you. Go show us why you're number one.
Mm-hmm.
The Jags also get their 2 first-rounders to help rebuild their roster because they're still a little bit away. They're not a million miles away from being a wild card team, but maybe 2 years ago they thought they could have maybe sneaked into the Super Bowl, so they can quickly bounce back. And I think Minshew looks like he's quite legit, so they don't necessarily have to worry about quarterback. So I think for the Jags, they win. The Jags were playing without Ramsay anyway, right? So
the last couple of games, 3 games I think without them. Yeah.
So actually,
back problem. I'm doing the air quotes on that. Yeah. After he had his public fallout, and then he was away from the team due to family reasons or something. Was it a baby? No, he flew back to Tennessee because he was a kid or something, wasn't it? Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So he went away, and then he came back with this mysterious inverted commas back injury that he then never recovered from until today when he got traded, and about it's now magically all fixed. So.
So really, there's a lot that's happened in this trade, but I can't see how anyone's lost.
Not at the minute. Hindsight will always tell us the way. That'll be hilarious.
Sure,
5 years from now. But you could be sitting there 5 years from now and you go, well, Ramsey's absolutely proven it. He's won a Super Bowl or 2. And on the flip side, the Jags, just by brilliant luck, nailed a couple of first round selections as well. So therefore, everybody wins.
It'll be interesting to see what happens.
Absolutely.
Yeah, very interesting. Did the Rams pull the trigger because of their start to the season? So the Rams are clearly, they're still all right, but there's been a clear drop-off from last year. And the Niners have started ludicrously well and are running away with the division as it stands. The Seahawks look strong as well. There's an argument that the Rams have dropped down to potentially the 3rd team in that division now. So has that made them pull the trigger on the trade?
I got you now, yes. Sorry. Right, yes. I'm now in the right division, and I totally get you where you're going with that. Because actually, they're technically three games behind San Fran because San Fran beat them. They've got they're 2 ahead and have the head-to-head on them. So, you think you're 3 games behind already. That's a hell of a fight back at this point in the season. I know it's only going into week 7, but to know you're 3 games behind already, that's it's already a tall ask.
I think the Rams needed a shot in the arm. They also traded for an offensive lineman from the Browns, Austin Corbett, who was the 33rd pick last year. So right. the first pick in the 2nd round. So maybe
that wouldn't be getting rid of another high draft pick, would it?
Yep.
They are so many they've inverted commas whiffed on.
Yep.
It's terrible.
So the Rams have definitely tried to give themselves that shot in the arm, that kickstart. And I was just reading there, so Cynthia Freeland from the NFL, who's right into her stats and posts all the, the minute details, has just posted about how Jared Goff, he's getting a lot of the criticism for the Rams, but actually the offensive line has gone from the 7th best to the 24th best in terms of penalties given away. So they're giving a lot more penalties away, which is putting him in harder positions. I think we can all see there's definitely deficiencies there, but I think these 2 players, I think a rotational offensive lineman, I think you maybe just take Gurley out of the equation completely and you just run with Henderson and
Brown
and Malcolm Brown, for a little while and see what happens with Gurley. And I think you just need to trust that Ramsey can, teams can't just throw the ball down the field, and that maybe brings Aaron Donald back into play. So I think this looks quite good from the Rams' perspective, and even just from Ramsey's character. So we know how intense he is. Does even that aggression impact the rest of the team? And do
they feed off it?
Yep. So I think it'll be good.
Yes, it's certainly an interesting one. You mentioned there obviously Todd Gurley and potentially taking him out temporarily. Would you do it permanently?
I would. I think that the Rams could remove themselves of the problem of, is he healthy, is he not healthy? You know what? I feel like the value is probably going to be similar to an Antonio Brown-esque. You'll maybe get a third and a fourth or something like that, because I think someone will see that there's still a player there, and someone will still like the name, and someone will think, well, maybe we can be the team that can help him get healthy. And if we can do that, we've then got a Pro Bowl caliber player for our team. The Rams just remove the problem, get some extra draft picks, and then address the running back situation quite probably aggressively in free agency. That would be, I think it makes sense for the Rams to do that, because how much of last season was it? Was there a distraction round about, is Todd Gurley healthy or not? And also from a game sort of thing, they just looked like a different team with and without him, even when he was ineffective. I think that, if they can just remove that completely and then maybe see what they can get out of Brown and Henderson, it's maybe not as big a deal as we would think.
Yeah, it's a strange one. But I do like your thinking on that, actually. The fact that because he's almost a distraction, so if you take him out of the equation, and because you don't have that problem, it maybe just takes a wee bit of a bit of negativity around the team, not Gurley himself, but just directed at the team in general, away from the organisation. It's one less thing to worry about, type thing.
Yeah, that would be my thinking, Steve. I think that it is a distraction. Think all the way up to the Super Bowl. Their full playoff run. All the chat was about Gurley and is he going to play? Is he not going to play? And actually, how much did that actually impact them? Even for Jared Goff is not the best quarterback, but he's not the worst either. So for someone like him, I think it's a distraction to him. Who is he going to play with? Who's going to, he has such a good connection with Gurley. Is he going to have that? Is he not going to have it? Can he get the same things out of different players? These are just, question marks that a young quarterback and a young head coach probably don't need. What do you think, Andrew?
Yeah, I think it's all very interesting. I'm not sure. As you said, there is obviously an issue with Gurley there. He was obviously outstanding last year until these issues seemed to arise out of nowhere towards the back end of the regular season. And then, as you say, through the playoffs, where it became he's not injured, but he's not playing much. So it's just a bit like, what's going on? And it caused a huge distraction. But I think a lot of that was poorly managed by the Rams. Just come out and say he's injured at that time, and then it sort of puts to bed he's got an issue, rather than having lots of questions of why aren't you using the guy who was at the time the best running back in the league.
I guess the problem with that, though, is, well, you get fined by the NFL, don't you, if you don't declare someone's injured when they're injured. So
true, yeah. Yes, you have to.
So the Rams were probably trying to manage it very carefully and maybe felt that saying nothing was better than actually what they could say. I don't know. It's a really tricky one. Who do you think would be a good fit if you were to trade Todd Gurley? Steve?
As in, which team should pick up Gurley?
Yeah, who could make a move for him?
Right. Well, let's start throwing a couple of the obvious ones then. So there's one team in particular that seems very trade happy at the minute, and that'll be the Texans.
With a crap O-line, would you do it? Well, I know they're improving.
Oh no, it's not good for. I know. I mean, it's no good as a setup. But I'm just trying to think of teams that would possibly pull the trigger on them.
I've got a good one, I think. What about the Steelers?
Ooh, because Connor's kind of inverted commas seems to have regressed a little bit. Their O-line is super solid. Yeah.
Give them a bit of star power back. Take some heat off of Juju.
Yeah, and helps Rudolph. Well, not Rudolph at the minute because he's not starting. I don't even know who the quarterback is.
Someone guys.
They're on a bye week this week anyway. Actually, it gives them time as well. If they do pull the trigger now, they're on their bye week, so it gives them time to, if they were to take them now, it gives them time to build them into the offense as well.
The other thing is, Gurley's a really good receiver as well, right? So you could do a lot of the things you've done with Lev Bell. You can push him out into the slot, and you can still have Connor as your running back, and Connor's a good receiver as well, so you can play two backs and just dunk it off to the two of them and make it really easy for the quarterback. Well, they've just drafted David Montgomery.
I don't think they would take him, but I like the idea on the face of it. Yeah.
The only other one that maybe sticks out to me is the Bills. I think they're.
They not already have about 3,000 running backs.
They do. And that's what they done.
That's why give them another one.
What I was thinking was they actually got a running back for every age of Frank Gore's life.
So yeah, like 1,000.
But yeah, so I was thinking Frank Gore's really old. Josh Allen is a little bit scatterbrained, so.
Just keep going.
What was that, Andrew? Sorry.
I was like, Gore, he just keeps going.
He does.
I've got two others. A sort of second back at Oakland, sort of playing off Josh Jacobs, so he doesn't go so mental.
Yeah, I think they're quite aggressive as well.
Shot, or how about I don't know if it's Flores' idea and plan, but send him down to South Beach.
Down to Florida.
Got nothing going on. Do they pick him up?
Why would you force him to retirement?
Well, if you're only going to give away a fourth rounder for it, it's kind of maybe a bit of a win for the organisation, considering how they've gone recently.
Nah, I think the plan in Miami is far too long term for Todd Gurley. I think the way the trajectory he's on, I would not be surprised if he's retired in 2 years' time. What would be the point in the Dolphins doing that?
I'll give you one final shout from me on Todd Gurley. What about the New Orleans Saints? What about they go Kamara and Gurley as Kamara and Ingram?
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah.
A very good old line.
Yeah.
You take Drew Brees is coming back off a major injury.
Yeah.
They do look like they're missing Ingram, I have to say.
Oh yeah, Latavius Murray has been crap.
Yeah. Just doesn't have
actually, yeah. He should be quite happy to go there because you're going from a contender to a contender, so
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
It's interesting.
I was just going to say, is there any more for any more?
Well, we need about half the league, so.
Where can you land? Anywhere is pretty much our take on it.
Oh my God! I just realised, what would be the worst thing ever? The worst possible outcome for this.
He goes to the Chargers.
He goes to the New England Patriots and he gets healthy. He magically gets healthy.
Well, they are hanging around every trade room at the minute.
That would make me feel sick. Imagine it. He went to New England and Robert Kraft somehow managed to find a cure for his knees. And
do you know what it is? There's this excellent place down in Florida, an excellent masseurs that he visits. So I'm sure they can help sort his knee out. Allegedly. Throw that in there so we don't get done for slander.
Okay, so that turns into a bit of a focus on the Rams really there. So we'll move on to the last thing we're going to discuss today, which is our weekly predictions. So last week we had the three games were the Redskins at the Dolphins, the 49ers at the Rams, and the Titans at the Broncos. So Redskins at the Dolphins, me and Steve both thought that the Dolphins would break the duck here, and they had the chance to. They had the chance to tie it up right at the end, and they decided to go for two, and instead they went for two.
Can I just quickly?
I love that meme when I seen it.
Brian Flores done everyone a favour by going for the 2-point shot. Nobody deserved to see that game go to overtime.
I mean, you're spot on. And Gav, you backed your own team and went for the Redskins, so you got a point there.
By default, I might add.
Only because you were looking for a reason for them to win.
The second game, we looked at the 49ers at the Rams. Gav, you got that one wrong because you went for the Rams. Steve and I both went for the 49ers. And then the last one, Titans at Broncos. You two both went for the Titans and got that wrong, and I went for the Broncos. So after another week of predictions, Gav leads the way on 9. I am in second place on 7, and Steve is back in his rightful place at the bottom on 6.
I've just got distracted by some breaking news from the NFL.
Go on then.
Right, go on. Watch this one. Osweiler announces his retirement. After 7 seasons in the NFL, poor Barack Osweiler is done. Well, anyway, that's enough about that one. Right, back to what predictions.
That was also his career highlights.
From the NFL as well.
His career highlight was that he got drafted. Was he not? Wait, is he not the guy that got traded to the Browns for the second pick just so they could dump $17 million a salary?
Yep.
It was just a phenomenal mess up of contracts and buying picks and all sorts of nonsense. He's known for that stuff more than he is for any on-field play. That's for sure. Anyway, I talked about him way more. I literally thought we was just going to chuck the headline out and we're going to go, well, that's enough about that. Move on. Sorry, back to predictions.
This week's predictions then. First game this week is Vikings at the Lions, and Gav, will let you lead us off.
Vikings at the Lions. Vikings.
Yeah, I think just. Well, see, there was a bit of controversy on Monday night about Detroit getting pulled for penalties that shouldn't have been happening. Not that I watched the game. Andrew, you watched a bit of the highlights, didn't you?
Yeah, well, I watched the highlights. Gav, did you watch that one?
I didn't watch. I watched the highlights. The penalty calls were a bit harsh. I'm not too sure how much of an impact they really had in the overall game. It looked like the Packers were
the second one had a huge impact because it gave them a first down by penalty.
Yeah.
So they were both called for illegal hands to the face.
Is that from Trey Flowers?
They were both clearly on the shoulder pad. I can't remember which player it was.
Because
So
I seen a thing that Trey Flowers got pulled for 2 face mask penalties in the game, having never been called for that ever in his career before, which I thought was really interesting. Again, that was in the discussion about where the refs being overly favourite of Green Bay, but
I'm right.
There was a play, there was a play where when Green Bay were on defense, where they had 13 men on the field and weren't called a penalty.
Oh Jesus, that was ludicrous. Not even 12, 13.
I love it.
Oh, Matt Stafford had no hope on that one. Anyway, back to this one though.
Steve, you're going Vikings as well.
I think so, yeah. It is in Detroit. See, Detroit been playing actually really well this season. Much better than I gave them any credit for. But I just got a funny feeling Minnesota they're gonna lean on Dalvin Cook again. They seem to have got their system sorted out. But the fact that Dalvin Cook's doing so well has helped really open up that passing game for Cousins with Thielen and Diggs. I don't know if they're quite back to the heights that they had last season, but they're not far off of it because they were last season they were tearing things up. You say again?
Diggs had a phenomenal game last week.
Because I had him in fantasy. It was about 36 points worth, and this is the old non-PPR for those of you that don't play that old school scoring. 3 touchdowns, 160 odd yards or something. It was pretty awesome.
But
it could have. Yes, I switched him out with an hour to go. Only because Hollywood Brown was inactive. So I was like, I'll put Diggs in.
The week before that, I had Will Fuller in my PPR league, sat on the bench. On the bench as he had
14 receptions, 220 yards and a couple of dude. Oh, man, that makes me sick just hearing that.
It was the biggest fantasy game for a wide receiver since 1990 or something like that. That on my bench. Anyway, back to this game. I'm going with the Lions. I think home field advantage. I think they will just get the Vikings on this one. Second game we're looking at Ravens at Seahawks. Steve, what do you think?
Ravens at... Seahawks, there's not going to be a lot in this at all. I don't know if the trade to the Ravens for Cooper is going to be, whether there's going to be enough time to really kind of bed him in and what type of game he's going to have. You've always got Seattle at home, which other than your Arizona Cardinals, everyone has a nightmare playing there. With the whole 12th man, super loud stadium. Seahawks are really clicking. Carson has had a hell of a 3 weeks, which has really helped spell Russell Wilson. And yeah, he's been playing pretty balls out as well this season, like sneaky good MVP candidate, I think, but not getting a lot of press for it because there's obviously other headlines going on. And he's just floating along week by week, doing his magic as he does. So I think there's probably not going to be much in it, but I think the Seahawks maybe just sneak it.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one. I think Seahawks there as well. Much the same reasoning. It'll be a tight game, but I think the Seahawks just edge out at home. And Gav,
these games feel like the hardest that we've done so far. I feel like Will Dissly going down for the Seahawks will be a bigger issue against better defenses than the Browns, because the Browns' defense is pretty crap. Maybe Marcus Peters coming in makes it a little bit harder for the Seahawks. Ravens. I'm going to say Ravens. Really uncomfortable.
Did you see last week that what's the quarterback's name again? I'm going to say Lamarcus Joyner. It's not the one. It's Lamar Melton. No, it's not
Lamar Jackson.
Jackson, that's the one. Bloody hell, get my names right. He was like 10 yards off the all-time rushing yards in a game for a quarterback.
He's so good. He's such a good.
It's ludicrous some of the stuff he was pulling out with. But I mean, he already had about 130 of those yards like early into the third quarter. So they kind of moved away from that. If they just kept him going at that pace, he would have blasted the record out.
I think that that could be a way to get past the Seahawks team. I think
just him and Ingram causing havoc and smashing the ball right down the middle.
Yep. I also think loads of dunk-offs to Mark Ingram in this game. So as Clowney's coming in, off the side, just dunk it off to Ingram and,
take him out of the game.
Yep. And you maybe get some of the roughing the passer plays as well if you can time it really well and maybe frustrate the Seahawks a bit. And I think, I'm going to say Ravens but it's going to be like a 27-26 type game. It's a Toin cost for sure.
A Toin cost?
Oh yeah, a Toin cost. You know what I meant.
I'm the last of the 3 games this week. Saints at the Bears. I'll go first on this one. It's a coin toss as well, I think, on this one too.
A coin toss, you mean?
Yeah, a coin toss, yes, sorry. My bad. I was reading just before we started recording that Alvin Kamara is dealing with a high ankle issue and is out for this as well, which, with him healthy, I have this as a Saints win. With him not, I'm not sure. I'm going to assume he makes it, and I'm going to go with the Saints. Gal, what do you think?
I agree on this one. I think the Saints are going to have enough in this one. I feel like this is a Michael Thomas game more than anyone else. I think he could absolutely ball out. I'm trying to think if there's any way I can change my mind, and I'm not really feeling it, to be honest. I think the Bears quarterback situation, Chase Daniels is a bit crap. I'm Saints. I'm all in on Saints.
I'll flip on the other side. I think I'll pick the Bears then, but
shock as Steve picks the more defensive team.
Well, yeah, that's pretty much where I'm going with that. There is an outside chance Trubisky comes back, which I don't suppose is really massively inspiring because they didn't show that much with him there. It's more, I suppose the Saints defense has been playing really, really good as well. I think I just I'm just hoping that the Bears kind of going to snuff out one of these really. Yeah, they're at home. Soldier Field's one of the few natural grounds that are left. So you could have you've got a late afternoon on a Sunday if the weather's bad. You've got a slippy pitch going on, and one of these kind of just, what is the word you said? Turgid. I can't even say that. The Bears where the Toin Coss with the Bears kind of just old school smash mouth running victory, and time of possession just keep them on the field more than the Bears defense quickly snuffs out Teddy B in the offense for the Saints. I think had Breeze been playing, I'd probably be fairly happy with the Saints. I'm just less excited about them with Teddy B. And I mean, I still love the fact that he's come back in the league and he's kind of holding his own. He's just not quite lining up like he did in his early seasons in Minnesota yet.
Yeah, it's nice to see him back playing, really, isn't it? Anyway, that rounds up our predictions and rounds up this week's episode. So thank you as ever for listening. You can find us at the usual places, at the AF Cast on Twitter, search the American Fitbaw Cast on Facebook. Like, share, review, tell your friends, tell your aunties, your uncles, your mothers, your daughters, and we'll see you again next week.
You've been listening to another great podcast from the Fair City Podcast Network, a group dedicated to connecting and developing podcasts. Check out fcpod.net for more great podcasts and content.